Hello and welcome to the Ultimate American Samoa Pinpoint Guide for Geoguessr. American Samoa is a overseas territory of the U.S. that a lot of the time will throw newer players off because they don't know what it is and they could end up getting killed instantly in a duel just because it's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and they're like, oh my God, where is that? So I'm gonna go through how to identify it, how to figure out where you are, which island you're on, and where you are on that island. So first, let's start with where is it on the map. It can be quite tricky to find sometimes, so I'll just go through where it is. So here's the world. It's over in Oceania. If you line up the top of Australia, you go right towards the international date line. Uh, you'll find American Samoa right here. And American Samoa consists of three islands. Uh, American Samoa, main one right there, and then there's two over here, Tau and Manua. Um, so let's first go over how to know if you're in American Samoa. So the two best indicators are the terrain and the unique Google car. Um, First, let's take a look at the terrain. So you'll notice, obviously, we're on an island, so water is very visible a lot of times on the island, but that's not always a guarantee. So let's look inland. In American Samoa, there are many, many mountains that are super lush, filled with vegetation all over the place. Very mountainous, as you can see. Like there's the coast right there, and it's already going up into a mountain. Second way you can identify it is through the Google car. As a unique Google car. Most Google cars are just like um, clearly fully obscured by this little uh, camera obscurer right here, besides maybe like an antenna. But for most of the Google cars, you will be able to see a large portion that's unobscured, which gives you a nice hint that you're in American Samoa. Um, in addition to that, some other clues: American roads and driving rules. Uh, as you can see here, there's double yellow lines, which you'll find commonly in the United States. Uh, there's the U.S. shaped license plate right there. In addition, it's driving on the right side of the road. You can also see in this picture, um, speed limit 20, that's in miles per hour, which is also a way to distinguish if you're in American Samoa. And you'll also occasionally find the American Samoan flag. This is what it looks like right here. You can find it pretty commonly around the island, main island at least, in some heavily populated areas of the island. I'll also link a map in the description to help distinguish American Samoa from other commonly confused islands like Guam or Christmas Island or even Puerto Rico. So check that out if you want to get better at identifying it. Next, how do you identify which of the three islands you're on? So there's the main one right here and then the two others. So you'll see the far right island of Tau has a glossy black truck for all the coverage right here. You can see it if you go over here, visible too. That's the main way you'll be able to identify if you're on Tau with the glossy black truck. Secondly, this island right here, Manua, it has a silver grayish truck that takes coverage of the entire island. As you can see, like right here, you'll look down, you'll find the silver truck right there. And then finally, for the main island, you'll see a rusted black truck bed that on coverage across the entire island. If we go right here, you'll see, here you go. Here's the rusted truck bed. That's pretty standard for the entire island. Um, and also, if you want practice for this, I made a map for island identification. The main map by Geoguessr, American Samoa heavily skews coverage towards the main island. So this map right here splits it evenly, so you have an equal chance of seeing each truck, so it'll help you more with identification. All right, now we can start the pinpoint guides for each island. Starting off with Tau. Um, on the very east side of the island, you'll see this village here with the airport. The airport's kind of hard to see on the coverage, but the main indicator you'll get if you're on this part of the island is that you'll see obviously the village here with houses, and you'll also see the water um, towards your east, um, which is pretty much the only village spot in the island where you'll see water towards your east. Um, Now there's a long road that connects the island in two. This is the next location. It just connects the two. It's a large east-west road, pretty much the only east-west road um, in the entire on the entire island. So it's just a long straight road, which is pretty recognizable because it's also a beach road. You'll be able to see beach to the north most of the time. Sometimes in the coverage you won't be able to see it here, but it's still easily, well, you can still see it, but it's easily identifiable by being east-west, um, unlike most of the other coverages north-south, like right here or right here. All right, and then finally this village on the other side, right here, pretty much same way to distinguish this one, except for the water's on the west now. So if you look right here, water will be on the west side. You'll also see a village here with some houses, schools, stuff like that, which makes it pretty easy to distinguish this side of the island. All right, next island. So there's pretty much 5 different locations on this island. So start off with red. Um, red is pretty easy to identify by the islands in the east. So if you go here, you can see this island. Move up a bit further, but you can see this island behind the trees, which is this one right here. Uh, and it's pretty easy to see if you're in Ofu. Um, a little bit further down the highway, it might be harder to see, maybe like right here. So if you see like no islands and you're facing like pretty much directly west, then you can also be confident you're on this further road up here. Because if you're right here, you'd be able to see the larger island. Next part, this area in green right here, is coverage taken of an airport. It's pretty obvious. You can see the airport. This also has like different Google car for some reason, which has orange straps right here. So if you see orange straps along airport, you know you're right there. Now the blue road. The blue road is pretty much the only road on these islands that has the northeast southwest orientation. It goes like this, so you should be able to line up your compass to figure it out. There's also this pretty distinct rock formation that appears right here when you're driving along this road sometimes, and it should be also easy to identify that. Also at the end of this road, there's this bridge right here that will connect the two islands together, as you can see. Now this pink coverage. This pink coverage is very distinct. It is just a grassy road that leads to this house. It looks very different from coverage uh, on the other places on the island. You can see a very overgrown trail, grass everywhere, At the very end, you'll see it leads to this house. You can also see a beach north. Now the final region, this village right here. Most coverage of this village is just a sandy trail that goes along the village. Um, you'll be able to see the other larger island here. Just make sure not to get confused this island with this tiny one right here in this village, because the larger island will have much higher tip, be easier to see. Um, Also, you might not get coverage in the village. You might get the paved road up here, in which this island is also pretty visible and easy to tell where you are. All right, now Manua also has some trekker coverage. So there's only 2 trekker locations on this island that are pretty easy to tell apart from each other. First one is just this sunset beach photo that is covered just right below the airport. Pretty distinct. If you see Sunset Beach, you just look south. There's nothing there. Pretty easy to distinguish. And then this other one right here. You'll be able to see the large rock formation for the entirety of this beach. All the way, if you go up here, there it is right there. If you go far back to the start of the trail, you can still see it. It's very easy to see the entire coverage. So those are the 2 trekker locations. Um, Now, the main island, split it up into sections as well. The first part, right here, this is a lot of like dark pavement, narrow, windy roads that have pretty much overgrown foliage beside them that go around the road. You can see it most parts here. Lots of foliage, winding, pretty dark pavement, more so up here than there, but again, another look, pretty dark pavement, overgrown, just narrow and windy. That's this western section. The next section is this orange one right here. Um, this one is just a road that just goes along the beach, pretty much the entire way. You'll see a lot of houses and villages. You can see like village right here. Villages along the coast are pretty common in this area, and you'll be able to see the water right next to the road almost every single time if you're on here. Also, make a note that the road here is pretty unmarked. It's just pavement. There's no like lines or anything, which we'll be able to use to distinguish other road coming up later. But just know that there's no markings on this road. The next part right here is this large green section. This is pretty distinct because it's a lot flatter than like some other areas on this. As you can see, that there's not really any mountains around that are pretty common elsewhere. Um, in addition, you have this double yellow line, which is pretty common here. It's not always there. Like for example, like this road right here might not have the double yellow line, but it's pretty common in this area. Um, as you can see, double yellow line, and mostly flat, some mountains in the background, but this area right here is almost all flat area. You can also occasionally, you'll get coverage next to the airport. You can kind of tell if it's the airport if you just see like this like long open grass field like this. It makes it easy to tell. You also see some hangars over there and stuff, um, which makes it easy to tell if you're near the airport. All right, next section. So this blue section right here is the bay. Um, there's a lot of rainy coverage here, so it's like a lot of gray. That doesn't mean there's not rainy coverage elsewhere on the map. It doesn't mean that there's not sunny coverage at the bay, but there is a lot of rainy coverage here. As you can see, the bay is very distinct. There's lots of boats, lots of houses on the coast. So if you're like at or around the bay, you should be able to see like tugboats, uh, just personal boats too, lots of houses. Bay is pretty distinct, easy to pinpoint if you get the location. As you can see, we have some sunny coverage here as an example. There's also sunny coverage, like right here is pretty sunny coverage. As you can see, part of the bay, large ships. Um, yeah, more rainy coverage, which is what most of the bay is taken of. Uh, all right, next section here is this purple section over here. Um, this purple section could get confused with this red part. Um, but the way I like to distinguish it, it's this road up here that leads up here uh, to the north side of the island, this area. Um, I like to distinguish it because it has wider roads and the foliage isn't as overgrown. You can see over here again, wide, pretty unmarked roads, not too overgrown foliage. If you compare it with this side over here, you can see pretty overgrown, narrow roads, but sometimes you can get tripped up and accidentally guess the wrong spot there. So you can see pretty wide roads. All right, the next spot right here, this pink spot, it's very easy to tell because this was also taken during the rain, but for the entirety of this coverage right here, you can see raindrops on the camera um, as it goes up this hill around here all the way to here. Like you can see if you go here, you have the raindrops right there. They fade a little bit as it goes on, but raindrops are still present right there um, for the entire coverage. Um, this is quite a common spot right here that you'll get this road right here as it leads away from the main one of the bay right there. So it'll come up, visit this town right here. Um, you'll also notice, if I can get a good view of it, there's like I can use this boat view. This right here is a very distinct rock right here in the ocean, and if you're at the edge of the coverage, you should be able to see it. Sometimes it's just over there past the trees, but that is also pretty identifiable. All right, next section right here is this dark green section. Uh, this dark green section can easily get confused with this orange section right here. They're both coastal coverage. As you can see, like right here, pretty coastal coverage right there. And then if you go here, or you go right here, also coastal coverage. So it could be pretty easy to get these confused, but there is a way to tell. Um, most of the roads um, along here will have distinct markings on them. Like this one right here is mainly unmarked, but there are some markings. If you're closer to the bay, you might get this double yellow line here um, as a marking. You can see waters to the south. But about, I'd say like 80-70% of the road has this weird gray line that just runs along the edge right here throughout the entirety of the road. Just like go up, you can see this gray line persists um, persists along this road, and it's pretty identifiable if you know what to look for. Again, right here, gray line right there. I think it's I'm actually not sure what it is, but it's pretty noticeable if you look for it. It goes along the south coverage. There is some exceptions for it. For example, right here, it randomly goes into a double yellow line. You'll be able to identify this part right here because for some reason while this was taken, there's a lot of people in the streets. This is pretty much the only spot where you'll see a bunch of just people in the streets. Um, and then later on, just like right here, it converges back into this gray line. And it's the gray line again about all the way until right here ish, where it turns back into the yellow line. And at this point, you should be able to see this island down here that's far off the coast when it turns back into the yellow line. You can see there's a little bit of a yellow line there, but you can see the island far off. Now the final maroon spot, it's pretty noticeable as a double yellow line. You'll be able to tell because the beach is in the east. It's pretty much the only part in the island where you're going to see a beach to the east. Again, right here, Eastern Beach Road. You can even see it coming through here. As you go down through here, you'll see beach to the east again, pretty noticeable. And then this could trip some people up a little bit. If you see ocean to the north, but you don't see any raindrops, there's a high chance that you're right there. You could also be right here too, but this is a little bay area like this, which is pretty distinct from the just coastline that's right here, which is just coast. There's also some trekker coverage here. So I'll get into that now. So here I've split it into 3 different parts. So the first part is this red area down here. That's just a bunch of hiking trails. You can see right there and then right there. If you go into it, it's pretty much just like this throughout the entire thing. It's hard to know exactly where you are in this, but these deep roots, as you go through the hiking trail, you'll pretty much be able to know that you're there. And then it eventually leads to like this pretty open area right here. There's a hiking trail over there. Yeah, there's also one right here. Pretty much the same idea, just deep roots. Hard to see anything for the entire trail. There's also this blue area right here. It's a lot wider. It leads to a radio tower. So you go and check it out. Right here, this wider road that leads to goes up a mountain. This one's pretty distinct because of the wet ground that you're going on for almost the entire duration of this. It's just a wet trail that leads to the radio tower at the end. You can see right here. Here's the tower. The tower's back there. Here's a little lookout at the very end of the trail. And the final coverage right here of this is of this island. This island kind of has similar trails to that, except for it's all pretty dry. It's not like that deep brown that that is over there. It's much drier. You can see there's some tire marks. There's also a chance that you'll get coverage in this town here, which is if you just don't see, if you're like in a town and you don't really see any car, but you see like this obscuration, then you're most likely in this little village right here. But most of the coverage you're going to get is like of this trail that goes around. There's also 3 boats that you can find on this island as well. The first one, they're all very easy to tell if you know what they look like. You can distinguish them from one another. This first boat, just taken of the bay, you'll be able to see a lot of large ships right here. very easy to tell if you're in the bay. And this boat just goes all around the bay. Second one, this blue one, it has coverage of the north coast of the national park that's on American Samoa. For most of this coverage, you should be able to see this pretty distinct rock right here to the east, and it's pretty much like that for the entire boat trip as you go along, like that. And now the final boat, the boat coverage is right here. This one's also pretty easy to tell. It's just the boat that goes to this island. As you can see, island behind, island in front, pretty sunny. You'll see these guys on the boat. Pretty easy to tell if you're on this boat coverage. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it for all the coverage. Now I'm going to play a couple of rounds right here. Also, I forgot to mention that I've made maps for each one of these islands right here. Just so if you want to practice each one individually. All right, let's get on to some practice, and I'll go through what I'm thinking as I guess. All right, I'm going to be playing in no move. I'll just go through what I say as I see it. All right, first off, we see pretty lush, hilly mountain right here. We have a distinct Google car. We can see the sides right there. And that's going to be able to tell us that we are in American Samoa. Now we do see the glossy black truck here, so we know we're going to be on this far island. And you can use the compass, point it. You see east-west, east-west, long road. We're very likely to be somewhere around here, maybe. Yep. All right. Next, we can see the very lush coverage again right here. Distinct Google car. Once again, it's going to be black truck. Once again, it looks like we're on this long east-west road that runs across the entire island. So I'm just going to guess around the same spot that I did last time. All right, this third one, we can see this lush hill right here. Distinct Google car, double yellow lines. Gives us a pretty good idea we're in American Samoa. Looks like there's a lot of flat area over here, plus the double yellow lines. We're pretty likely that we are in this area over here. If we line up the road, we'll see we're facing just a little bit south, so maybe something like this. All right, once again, you can see the lush islands right here. Distinct Google car right there. We know we're going to be in silver, in the silver truck area, so it's right here. You can see this landmark right here, which should be this. So we should just be right there. There's the bridge that you come over. We're on the other side. All right. Let's see. Distinct Google car. Lush Hill right there. Looks like we got the black Google car again, so we should be on this island. Now we're ocean facing the west, so we should be right here, just somewhere along that road. And that's it for my American Samoa guide. Thanks for watching, and I hope these tips help.